Welcome to KILLR, the mobile app designed to help you find the serial killer of your dreams. Joe User could happily spend all day looking through KILLR's 100 serial killer profiles, but for now, he's got a few specific tastes in mind. He decides to start filtering by killing method. Joe likes to think of himself as a modern sort of guy, so he chooses to filter by the most modern and American method, shooting. This narrowed down the number of killers on the screen quite a bit. Joe can see that the method icon he tapped on is now highlighted red, showing that a filter based on method is active. Joe doesn't want to seem like he's old-fashioned, but he just isn't interested in women or couples right now, so he clicks on the gender icon and chooses to filter by male killers. This got rid of a few more profiles, but it's still more than Joe is ready to start going through blindly. He's feeling a little overwhelmed at this point, a bit shy, so he decides he wants to see the profiles sorted by the number of kills attributed to them. Sorting fits what Joe's looking for, and seeing the killers sorted by the fewest kills first seems like the way to go. In this resulting list, Joe is immediately drawn to this handsome gentleman in the top right corner, who just so happens to be number 3 in this low to high sorting. Joe is immediately drawn to... The screen loses its bottom navigation bar to show off the important stuff, the photo, some info, and the action buttons. The acid bath murderer looks even bigger in a larger photo, and Joe spends some time just admiring his face. These bits hanging off the edge of the screen seem to hold some info and invite Top Joe to see them better. Joe already knew a lot of this since he filtered based on gender and method, but there's some other info here too. It seems that even though the acid bath murderer only had 6 victims, he's rated a 3 out of 3 for evilness. Joe wonders why. So he taps down to what looks like it might be a biography section. It's a long read, and maybe Joe goes through all of it, or maybe he stops at the first paragraph and thinks to himself, yes, a guy who killed people to take their money and dissolve their corpse in acid, that's the one for me. There's a button to favorite or block this profile, but Joe's interested enough to jump straight into messaging. It's a pretty standard messaging screen, and Joe gets right in, saying hello and something to attract the attention of this killer. Good luck, Joe. The word mark in the top bar functions as a button taking you back to home, or the unfiltered default screen. KILLR has some other features, like an app-wide search function. If you have a specific killer in mind, but don't feel like fiddling with the filters. Perhaps you have someone in mind who's known as a strangler. Put it in, and off you go. This screen shows that the magnifying glass in the top is an active filter based on a search term, which in the top left, you can see the abbreviated version of what you entered. From here, you can start browsing profiles or filtering further. Meanwhile, the ubiquitous hamburger menu button brings up a list of options. For instance, if a user would like to add a new killer to this list, this is the way to do it. This screen is furnished with the various categories used in this database and ready to be filled. For instance, let's add a serial killer called the Acrylic Killer. The Acrylic Killer poisons acrylic paint to take his victims, and we can add the other information as we know it and enter it here. Lastly, for this demonstration, I listed the sources I used for this project in this menu, both the text and images and the sources, the icon source that I used for inspiration, and the typefaces I used throughout. This has been Tyler Butler, presenting KILLR, the mobile app designed to help you find the serial killer of your dreams. Aren't you just dying to meet your perfect match?